Hello and welcome. Aquarister here, back with another video, and today we are actually going to be going over my daily and weekly tasks that I look at. Now, all of these I'm not going to necessarily do every single time, but some of them I will do pretty much every single day, and some of them I'll do it just every day if I'm able to, and same with the weekly ones. It's more so if I'm able to, but there are going to be some that I will do every single week. So that's what we're going to get into today, and I will go over some of what I would deem as more necessary to try to do every day if you can, and those that you could maybe put off and just kind of do whenever you're able to. As always, before we fully get into today's video, I do just want to say if this video helps you out, or if you just like it, please drop it a like. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more content like this, including loot runs, builds, stuff like that, definitely subscribe to the channel so you know when those videos go up. And I do stream throughout the week on Twitch and YouTube, so definitely stop by your favorite platform, say hello, lurk, anything like that. We would love to have you. But let's get into today's video. All right, so to actually get us started, I headed over to Brimstone because I actually have access to everything that I need to show you guys here. And what we are going to start with is some of the dailies. So I'm going to start with the faction missions. Now, 3 times a day, you actually get a bonus by doing your faction missions. And the easiest way that I found to get it is actually, I do Brimstone faction missions. So as you can see here, it's going to be something like this, where it's not going to be a corruption breach, won't be a specific dungeon, anything like that. So you're going to be looking for these, and if you look under the rewards, you can see the reputation tokens and coins, as well as XP and territory standing. So the first 3 missions that you do in a day, you get a bonus. So active bonuses, daily bonus, Brimstone Sands territory bonuses. So you do get a bonus for your first 3 missions. Now, if you're able to do the expedition missions, you do actually get a little bit more out of it. As you can see, it's 270 gold instead of the 225. But some of those are going to be a little bit more pain to get done. So that's why I end up just doing my daily, just kind of regular faction missions, and that will get me my 3 bonuses. So if you do that 3 times a day, that's an easy 600-700 gold for not really doing anything. Plus you get your tokens, and you can actually get enough tokens to get our next item that we're going to talk about, which is the chromatic seal. So with the chromatic seals, it is not as necessary as it once was, for some of us at least, because they've changed the way crafting works. Now, let's go into the faction shop. For those of you who don't know, the chromatic seals are at the bottom right here. And as you can see, they are 5,000 gold, and normally they're going to be 20,000 tokens, but we actually own a fort that's reducing that down to 19,000. But the main use that you're going to have for the chromatic seals is for crafting up your named items. So with the named items, you can use 3 chromatic seals, a matrix, 250 dark matter in the gypsum kiln, and that will allow you to craft a guaranteed 700 with the guaranteed 2 perks that are on that named piece, and then you get to pick the 3rd piece. So the chromatic seals are still very, very useful, especially if you are not a crafter. Even if you are a crafter, it can come in handy. But for those who are not crafters or don't have access to a crafter, these work fantastic because you don't need crafting skill in order to create those named items. So that's what we're looking at as far as the faction missions, because like I said, doing those 3 faction missions give you almost enough to buy your daily chromatic seal as long as you have enough gold. So that is why I end up doing the faction missions. Again, really, really easy gold right from the start. So after that, the next thing that I will show is the event. So I'm not actually going to show the event, but in general, we have fairly, decent events where there's going to be daily missions and stuff, or daily tasks that you need to do in the game. And so that is where that adds into the dailies. And I did just want to mention it really quick because that is something that a lot of people do want to stay on top of. And again, this video is both for you guys as well as for myself to remember some of these things, because with all the daily and weekly things that I try to get done, it can get to be a little bit much to have a handle on it. So doing those event dailies does help to just progress in the event if you do care about that. I'm hoping that as the events progress, we are getting, better loot and stuff for what we're trying to get. So, all right, we're jamming. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the daily resource cooldowns. Now, many of you know I'm not much of a farmer. I don't like to farm many resources, stuff like that. I'll end up buying a lot of my resources. But for those of you who are going out and farming and doing your daily cooldowns, it is something that is very, very worthwhile. Now, With these cooldowns, they are a daily, so you can see there's 15 hours, 53 minutes left until I could do this again. So that is something daily where if I do happen to have the resources, if I happen to have a good farming week where I did decide to go farming or just got my hands on some more extra resources, then I will do my daily cooldowns if I'm able to. Now, back in the day, I used to do my dailies almost every single day for resources. But nowadays, I like to make my gold elsewhere, purchase my resources, and then if I happen to accumulate enough to then be able to do that, then I will. But that is something to think about, your resource cooldowns. And some people in the past have paid for cooldowns. I don't see that as much anymore. Part of that, I think, is a trust deal, which I have seen some people get screwed over where they were going to pay someone for their cooldowns and the person ran. So it is something to be very, very careful when you're looking at that. So the next thing for the dailies, and actually this is the last of the dailies for myself, is the trade skills. So we're gonna go over this way, and I have some music sheets in my inventory. Now, some of you may not know, but you can now actually get XP towards your trade skills through the different stations. So we're here in the engineering station or the workshop. And in here, it'll allow you to pick music sheets. So you can do up to 10 per day for each trade skill. And what we're going to do is do all 10. You can see it gives you the XP. Once you click craft, then you get the XP for it. It's not a lot of XP. It's not like you're going to be able to cap your trade skill right away with that, but it is kind of nice. So then for the engineering, you have the different broken hatchets, you have different patterns. They made use of all these extra gold items that we just stockpile and don't know really what to do with. So now there actually is a use for that. For furnishing, you're going to be looking at all of the various furnishing schematics, and then each different trade skill will have something connected to it like that. So when we go into the armoring, armoring is really nice because it is actually going to be not only patterns, but then you also get to use some of those other gold items right here. So same deal, patterns. You can use runic thread. You can use the buckles. So doing this daily, I mean, again, you're not going to get crazy XP for it, but just for some extra passive XP, it is kind of nice to be able to do this. So for something that's on a daily basis, this is definitely something for some people to do, especially for those of us who have been just absolutely hoarding way too much of this stuff. So definitely something to think about for your daily cooldowns. Okay, so next we are going to talk about the few weekly items that I like to go for. So these are probably the most important, or one of them specifically is probably going to be the one most important weekly that I will make sure that I do absolutely every single week. But first we are going to start with back at the faction vendor, and we are going to show you the Azoth inductor. If you are a crafter, the Azoth inductors are very nice. They are very expensive though. So as you can see, they are 25,000 gold. And normally they're going to be a bit more on the tokens as well. But the tokens, they've been giving us some free ones. If you're doing your daily token gathering, you could save up and get there. But 25,000 gold is very expensive. But what you do get is a guaranteed 700 item, guaranteed attribute, and guaranteed 3 perks. So you are making 100% exactly what you need, but the resource cost is going to be quite a bit. So that is something that I do not buy every single week. I have a couple of them. I've used one of them in the past. It is very, very expensive, but it is something that some people are going to find a lot of use out of. So it is something that you can get weekly. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, I actually can't really show you other than I have 3 of them, and that is going to be the transmog tokens. Now, I am very specific on how I like to farm my transmog tokens because I will first do them I will first try to pull it, I guess, in the elite zones of Brimstone and Elysian Wilds. So all of these weekly cooldowns are on a global weekly cooldown, and they will reset on Tuesdays. So Tuesday morning when I log in and I'm streaming especially, a lot of you guys might notice that I like to start with Brimstone and Elysian Wilds for my loot runs. And that is because if you pull your transmog token out of those 2 different territories, you are guaranteed a golden scarab with it. And with the price of scarabs being a little bit higher than they have been, it's definitely something that you may want to think about each week when you're going for your transmog token, because you, like I said, you are guaranteed the scarab every single time you pull the token, as long as it is in Brimstone or in Elysian Wilds. So that's why I am going to start with those two zones every single week for my elite zones, because I know that if I do get that, it's, you know, an extra $1,000 or more in my pocket, or I just have another scarab to hoard and save for my next craft. So that is the transmog token. Now the last item on the list, this is again the most important item that go out and buy every single week. It's really, really easy. It doesn't cost you anything but 20 gypsum orbs. And what you're going to do is go to the gypsum kiln. And in the gypsum kiln, you will type in gold. When this comes up, the cache of gold and matter, you can see it is 20 orbs. I have already purchased mine this week, so I can't show you it. But what you get is 1,500 gold and 250 dark matter. Now, the 1,500 gold isn't crazy, but the 250 dark matter is really, really nice to get just absolutely free. 20 gypsum orbs, as many of us know, is really, really easy to get. You won't have much of a problem getting those if you're doing, you know, just general stuff around the world. If you play OPR especially, you'll get them. So getting the gypsum orbs really, really easy, and all you have to do is just go and purchase it, open the cache, and you are now 1,500 gold and 250 dark matter richer. And that is once a week. You can see the cooldown right here. And so every single week, make sure you're buying this. Even if you're not playing the game heavily, this is like the one thing that I'll say, just go and buy it. It's free gold. You add the 1,500 gold a week on top of your 600, 700 gold daily from your faction missions. And that's a good amount of gold throughout the week. You know, that's a decent amount. You're looking at, you know, $4,000 or $5,000, 4,000 or 5,000 gold per week. And if you're not spending that gold and you're just kind of casually playing, that will eventually add up. Your dark matter is going to add up. So then when it does come time to either craft a named item or to level up one of your artifacts, you will be set to go. So this is a really good addition. You know, there's always that chance that they could increase that amount or increase the frequency in which we could collect it. But currently, this is a great start for us to be able to use those gypsum orbs. All right, that is going to do it for today's video. I know it's a little bit shorter of a video, but I did want to get this out because, again, for myself, I need the reminder of some of these daily and weekly cooldowns that I'm doing. Now, there are other daily tasks that I do like to do a lot of the days, but today I just wanted to go over the specific cooldowns because some of these we are restricted to only once a day or once a week. So that's kind of what I wanted to aim for. There are some other daily tasks that I do, which if you do want to see some of those, definitely stop by a stream. You'll more than likely see me doing them. There are certain loot runs that I like to run, and some of those other dailies that don't have the specific cooldowns, that'll shift around depending on what's selling on the trading post, what I'm looking for, all of that. But these dailies with the cooldowns, I do try to do as many of them as I'm able to do, but some of them, like I said, aren't quite as necessary anymore. Chromatic seals, depending on the person, may not be as necessary. The event dailies obviously are going to change, but those are oftentimes on a daily basis with a daily cooldown. And then obviously resource cooldowns just kind of depends on what you're going to end up doing. But there are a lot of people who like to keep up with those cooldowns, which I do appreciate it, because the more people doing your resource cooldowns means there's more supply, hopefully, so the market stays a little bit lower for the cost for those of us who do want to actually purchase our resources. But that is going to do it for today's video, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.